What's up guys, and welcome back to Software and Audio Solutions, and today we're talking about Call of Duty Warzone 2 or 2.0, whatever the fuck you want to call this fucking game right now. Call of Duty has done a massive amount of updates in this little time span of going through, Christmas and New Year and everything, and we're now in January, where there's a lot of updates that came out and people are experiencing a bad gameplay experience, stutters in the game, FPS loss, and just in general a shit show of a game, and they are just getting fed up with these problems. Now today I'm going to show you what you can do to get the better experience inside the game and to boost your overall FPS and have a smooth gameplay experience. Alright, so the first thing I highly recommend you go ahead and do is go to the file explorer like this. I'm just going to move this on the screen. You're going to go to Documents and go to Call of Duty and go to Players, and then go to this file over here that says options3.cod22. Now don't worry about the CST over here, that's just because I have this over here that says file name extensions. You can go ahead and select this if you want to. If you don't really need to care about this. Just open this up with any notepad or anything like an editing software, and then go ahead and open this up over here, and you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom over here where it says renderer worker count. Now as you can see over here, I have 4 inside here. The reason why I have 4 inside here is because I have an 8-core, 8-thread CPU. It's a 9700K, and that's why I half my cores to 4. Now, for a lot of people, this is very confusing, and they don't know what to really put here, because lots of people have Ryzen machines, and lots of people have Intel machines. So I went to go ahead and actually, I'm just going to go ahead and show you. This is what you're going to use, okay? So these are for Ryzen users, and these are for Intel users, okay? So if you have a 4-core Ryzen CPU, you put it on 3. If you have a 6-core, you put it on 5. If you have an 8-core CPU on Ryzen, it plays a very big role on 6 or 7. So go ahead and try out 6. If it doesn't give you an FPS boost, go with 7. If 7 doesn't give you an FPS boost, go to 6. One of those are going to work for you. So if you have a 12-core Ryzen machine, go with 8. If you have 16 cores or anything higher than that, go with 12. Now for Intel users, it's completely different. As you can see here, it's completely different, okay? So for instance, 8 cores are now on 4 instead of 6 or 7. And then 10 cores is now on 5. Obviously that's half. And then obviously this, I don't know why it's like this. It's just, it's I don't know why we have to jump through these fucking, advanced options just to have a smoother, frame rate in our game. It's just fucking ridiculous. But ladies and gentlemen, I tried my best to go ahead and show you an example. I'm most likely still going to get comments of people commenting what type of CPU they have, and they're going to be like, what should I put it on? If, read, use your eyes and look here. That's all you need to do. Literally, that's fucking all you need to do is look, use your eyes. I mean, are you watching this video blind? Anyways, so these are the options you are going to be using to put inside here. Like I said, I have an 8-core, 8-thread CPU. No, you don't half your threads, you half your cores, because people ask me comments like that as well. Is it your cores? Is it your threads? What is it? It's your fucking cores. Done. Alright. Once you have done changing this to the half of your cores, you're going to click on File over here and then say Save. Once you saved it, you're going to close out of this. Now, this will give you an increase of FPS. I'm just going to don't save because I made that just now. It will give you an increase of 15 to 20 to about 30 FPS increase by halving your cores. Now, not exactly halving your cores, it's more on the Intel side of halving your cores, but I just showed you an example of what you need to do with Ryzen machines. So you should be good to go if you follow my guidelines. Alright, for NVIDIA users, if you are an NVIDIA user like me, just right click on your desktop and open up an NVIDIA control panel. This plays a very big role inside the game right now at this very moment. Is go to adjust image settings with preview, and then go over here to where it says use the advanced 3D image settings. A lot of people are saying to use my preference and then go to performance. Now right now at this very moment with all the updates, I don't recommend it. Your game's going to look like dog shit. So rather go to here where it says use the advanced 3D image settings and say take me there. It's basically just going to take you to this over here which says manage 3D settings. So I'm going to click on it and it will take me there. Now, the reason why I don't go through program settings and selecting Warzone or Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is if you use these settings that I'm showing you right now, it's not just going to work for Warzone, it's going to work for Modern Warfare 2 and every single game you are playing right now at this very moment, multiplayer or even single player games. It will help Trust me, it will help. So all you're going to need to do is follow these steps I have over here. You can pause the video if you want to, but I'll just go over them. Alright, so off, application controlled, off, on, application controlled, off, all. Here you're going to have to actually select your GPU. Make sure it's selected. Off DSR factors. This is super resolution. You do not need this unless you use super resolution. Go ahead and turn that on, but I do not recommend it. Low latency mode. This plays a very big role inside the game on how fast your GPU talks with your CPU. If you want your GPU and your CPU to talk faster to one another, go ahead and put this on ultra. Now, my GPU and CPU aren't far away from one another. They're not like, I don't have like a 4090 and I don't know, a fucking first gen i7. I've got a 9700K with an RTX 2060 OC and they've both been overclocked, so I put mine on and I'm good to go. If you only have the option of ultra, go ahead and put it on ultra. Max frame rate, you're going to leave this on off because you're obviously going to change the max frame rate inside the game, not inside this application. Okay? So this off as well. Auto, always keep this at auto. Select your GPU inside here. You're going to need to say select your GPU. Don't say auto select, select your GPU. Prefer maximum performance, 100 gigs on shader cache size. Don't put it on default driver. If you have it there, go ahead and put it on 100 gigs. It plays a very big role with stutter and lag in the game. No, most of the time it's not actually lag. Lag equals internet connection being absolute atrocious or dog shit. It's not lag, it's your game stuttering. That's what you're feeling. Now this can help it. Trust me, it can. All you need to do is just go ahead and put it on 100 gigs. Don't put on unlimited. Don't go anything lower. Just 100 gigs. Put this on allow and then high performance on this one over here. On, off, and then this is just virtual reality. You do not need these fucking things. We are not playing a virtual reality fucking game because Warzone 2 is not a virtual reality game. Now once you applied all of these settings like this and it's set to this, go ahead and say apply to these settings. It will apply these settings for you. Your screen might flash a few times or go absolutely apeshit. Don't worry about it. It's just applying those settings to your NVIDIA control panel. Right, it's very important that you change this before we actually get into the game, and let me show you what you're going to change inside over there. You're going to go to config surround and physics and make sure that you go ahead and select your GPU. Don't select auto select, don't select CPU, select your GPU if you have a dedicated graphics card, meaning you plugged in a GPU into your SLI slot. Okay? The only reason why you would select CPU is if you have an APU unit, meaning you have a CPU with no dedicated graphics card. The GPU is basically built into the CPU. That's called an APU. That's the only reason why you would select CPU. If you have a dedicated graphics card like 95% of the gaming fucking community, go ahead and select your GPU and apply it. If you haven't done this already, please, for the love of fuck, go ahead and do that. Okay, once you're done with that, I highly recommend you go to adjust desktop color settings, and all you're going to need to do is copy my settings over here. This is your own personal preference. You can play around with this one over here, but I highly recommend copying these exactly as is, and go ahead and change this to whatever the fuck you would like this to be on, right? You can go ahead and play around with this. It's your own personal preference on what you're going to do with the digital vibrance, but the higher this goes, the more digital vibrance you are going to have in your game, and your game's going to look really, really nice. So I leave mine at about 90%. I'm just going to apply these settings, let it apply, and yeah. There's a lot of settings you can still change inside the game as well to make your color pop even more inside your game, to make your game look really, really good just in its visuals. Trust me, there's a lot of things that you can do inside the game as well. But this plays a very big, important role. Right, so the next thing I highly recommend you go ahead and do is go ahead and check if you have the latest graphics card drivers installed on your machine. It's very, very important that you have your latest drivers installed on your GPU. Now, for NVIDIA users, yours will be 528.02. This is the latest drivers for NVIDIA graphics cards, and it is the best version right now that you can be using. It gives better performance, especially with newer generation graphics cards. I don't know so much about older generation graphics cards, but I'm pretty sure this one right now at this very moment, which is 528.02, is a really good version for your graphics card drivers. Go ahead and download it. Same with AMD. Please go ahead and download the latest drivers. You really need to go ahead and do this. Once you're done with this, all you're going to need to do is go to the search button over here and type in settings, just like this, and press enter. I'm just going to move this from the screen and go to update and security, and please, for the love of fuck, make sure that your Windows is up to date. A lot of people are lazy. Don't worry, I'm also a lazy person, so I also forget about this. But please, go ahead and update your Windows. If you are running Windows 10, Windows 11, whatever the fucking Windows you are using, please go ahead and update your Windows drivers. You need to keep it up to date. Once you're done with that, you're going to go to Home, and then you're going to go to Privacy. You're going to scroll all the way down to where it says Background Apps. Now, for a lot of people, they might have this on over here, and all of this nonsense and bullshit is going to run in the background while you are playing any game. It doesn't matter if you're playing Warzone, whatever the fucking game is that you're playing. All of these things are going to run in the background, and it's going to use resources like your RAM and your CPU. So just go ahead and turn them all off. You do not need any of these. Go to Home. From here, you're going to go to Gaming. Make sure you go to Xbox Game Bar and turn all of these things off. This over here, uncheck this. You do not need this. Unless you use this, then you can go ahead and tweak it yourself. Captures, you can go ahead and tweak yourself as well if you are using Xbox Game Bar. If you don't, just copy my settings over here and you should be good to go. Game mode. Alright, so something that's very, very important. Every time Call of Duty does a update, they fucking break their game and they just make it worse in general for people to play it, and the game becomes worse. So then we have to start changing things, and it's always a constant fucking change, which is actually quite sad. It's actually fucking ridiculous that we have to keep jumping through these hoops, but you're going to need to go to graphics settings, and now you're going to need to turn this on. Yes, I know, in my previous video I told you need to turn this off. For the love of fuck, just listen to me, hear me out, turn this on. It actually makes the game run better. Go to browse over here, and you're going to go where your game is installed. So if you don't know where it is, go look for it. Alright, mine's over here. I renamed this folder. I know a lot of people's going to be like, but my folder is called something else. I renamed my folder. So, yeah, that's why. Go into your COD, it will look like this. You're going to go inside here and add the COD file over here, which is the exe. Alright, now I can't see that it's called a fucking exe because I changed the extensions to not to show. But anyways, this will be your exe largest application. Go to add, then you're going to go to browse again. You're going to go one back to that folder, whatever the fuck yours is called. Call of Duty, HQ, Call of Duty, whatever the fuck. I renamed my folder. So please, for the love of fuck, don't leave a comment and be like, my game doesn't say that. Yours won't. I renamed my fucking folder. Cool. Call of Duty launcher, add it inside here. Go to options, go to high performance, select your GPU and say save. Go to Call of Duty HQ, that's what yours would most likely be called, unless you rename the folder. Go to options, go to high performance and say save, and then close out of this. Now ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to jump straight into the game and show you the best settings you can be using for Warzone 2, 2.0, whatever the fuck you want to call this game right now, because it's literally a shit show and we have to jump through hoops to be able to play this fucking game, and it's actually quite fucking annoying. Anyways, let's jump straight into the game. Let me show you what you're going to need to do next in the game settings to have a smoother gameplay experience, and also just visuals in general to make your game run really, really well. Right, let's jump straight into that. Right, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I'm in my game right now, basically in the selection screen. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the little gear icon over here, and you're going to go to interface, and you're going to scroll all the way down till you see this over here, and you're going to turn this all on so you can actually see what's going on inside your game, your FPS, every single thing. I highly recommend you go ahead and turn this on if you do not use MSI Afterburner like me. Now, something I do want to point out is if you are using an AMD graphics card, you can still use MSI Afterburner and it will show you your temperatures, your FPS, all of those things, and you can also change the fan curve on your AMD card with MSI Afterburner. It's not just specifically made for NVIDIA cards, you can use it on both GPUs. So I do recommend, if you want to see your FPS and do your fan curves and stuff like that, go ahead and download MSI Afterburner. If you're not a member on my YouTube channel, become a member on my YouTube channel. I'll show you how to use MSI Afterburner properly on an AMD machine and an NVIDIA machine. Right, from here, what you're going to need to do next is you're just going to close out of this. Make sure that you have all of these things up here at the top. Now, something I'm going to show you right now is watch my FPS. Can you see that it's about 138 is the max I just hit? Now I'm going to show you a screen print, because I use a screen print on my keyboard because I got a 70% keyboard screen print that I'm just going to put into this video to show you that I do 144 to 145 FPS without using OBS. OBS actually eats FPS. It uses my GPU. So by you looking at my FPS now and you going like, that's not much FPS that is actually increasing. No, I actually increase a lot. I actually really do. With all these settings I just showed you now, I increase a lot of FPS. I hit 145. Okay? Now, like I said, my OBS while I'm recording does eat FPS. Right, so the next step I highly recommend you go ahead and do is just go back to the gear icon over here and then go to graphics and then go to quality and then make sure this is obviously on custom because we're going to customize these things inside here. Now, something I want to point out is this over here, render resolution. I highly recommend that you go ahead and leave it at 100% no matter what you're playing your resolution at. If it's 1080p, 1440p, fucking 4K, whatever the case might be, leave it at 100%. The more you turn it down, the more your game's going to look like this, and it's going to look like dog shit, and you don't want that, okay? Now, a lot of people are going to most likely leave comments and be like, yo, dude, why aren't you using this? 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 Why don't you have this off? Okay, so let me just put this out there. NVIDIA DLSS in Warzone does not work correctly. I don't know why. For some people it does, for some people it doesn't. If it works for you well, then use NVIDIA DLSS and use it on balance. Do not, you can use performance, it's okay. Don't use ultra performance. Your game's going to look like shit. Trust me. Yes, you'll get more performance out of your game, but your game's going to look like shit. Leave it at balance so it can balance out the quality and the performance if you decide to use NVIDIA DLSS. Don't go with quality because you're here for an FPS boost guide. Why the fuck would you click on quality in the first place, alright? If you use, I don't know, NVIDIA image scaling, alright? A lot of people use this. Go with a native, and then you can obviously change the sharpness yourself if you are using this scaling mode over here, okay? If you are using AMD FSR, then you can go ahead and put it on balanced as well. You can also put this on performance, but the game's going to look again atrocious. So either put it on balance or you can go with quality. You can go with quality on AMD preset because AMD actually gives you a lot more FPS in the game. So I highly recommend going with quality. It will give you a little bit less FPS, maybe like 10, 15, but your game will look good and you'll still do really good FPS inside your game. Alright. A lot of people are recommending Fidelity FX Cache. The reason why people are recommending Fidelity FX Cache is because it makes the game much sharper and it makes the game run just, it feels different when you put it on Fidelity FX Cache. A lot of people is going to comment and be like, oh, but I don't like Fidelity FX. If you don't like Fidelity FX Cache, then don't fucking use it. I'm here to tell you what you should be using, what you shouldn't be using. In fact, I can't tell you exactly what to use here. I can't. Every single person out there has a different machine. For me, right now at this very moment, Fidelity FX Cache on 60, perfect for me. So use Fidelity FX Cache if you want to. If you don't, then don't. Go to the strength of the Fidelity FX Cache. Mine's on 60. It's your own personal preference. And then go to show less. Anti-analyzing, I highly recommend that you go ahead and play this on full mic SMAA T2 times. The reason why I say this is because the game actually looks a little bit better and the jagged edge just goes away in the game. Now, if you want more performance and you're here for performance, go with SMAA T2 times. Especially if you're running a lower generation CPU and a lower generation GPU, alright? Anti-analyzing mode, I highly recommend that you go with the quality version, so it's anti-analyzing quality. Go with ultra quality or high. Don't put it at normal, don't put it at low. If you are running really low spec machine, like a laptop that's low spec, a low spec PC, go with a normal, not low. Normal is fine. If you have higher end to mid, or let's say mid tier to high end, go to high or high ultra quality. Fuck, I'm confusing myself. Anyways, video memory scale. I've had lots of comments of people telling me, no, don't put it at 90%. You're going to destroy the lifespan of your GPU. It's gonna kill it. It's gonna kill it. Listen, you bot. Don't fucking leave a comment saying, oh my god, it's gonna kill the lifespan of my fucking PC. Go cry in your fucking own corner, please, for the love of fuck. If you have a lower generation graphics card with less VRAM, yes, then you can go ahead with 60, 70. If yours can go to 85 or 80, put it there. If you have a much better GPU with 6 gig VRAM and it's a newer generation graphics card, don't get me wrong. Don't say, oh yeah, I've got 8 gigs of VRAM, but it's like a RX 580. Then no, then that's not going to count. You need a really good GPU, okay? I don't have the best, but I still put mine on 90, and my game runs perfectly fine. Texture resolution, I do not recommend on normal. I play my game like this. It's my own personal preference. Normal, high, 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 and then short. This is how I play my game. Now, you are not going to play your game like this because you want more FPS, you want more performance. So what you're going to do is, you're going to either leave this on normal or on low. Don't put it on very low. You are going to tear out your own eyes of how bad the quality is inside the game. So low, there's no physical difference between low and normal. But there's a big difference between the VRAM. Look on the right hand side how much VRAM it eats. So if you have a very small card with very little bit of VRAM, go with low. As simple as that. Alright, this you're going to obviously put at normal, this you're going to put at low, this you're going to put at low, short, you do not want this on long, you want it at short, low, very low, on. If you put this off or on, it does nothing. It will not increase FPS, it will not decrease FPS. This has no physical difference on your machine. Put it on, just leave it on, alright? This you can leave off, this on low, this on off. For the love of fuck, I don't know what's going on here. My machine just doesn't want me to choose one here, so I left it. Now, I do recommend going with minimum. Just go ahead with minimum if you're here for an FPS boost and you want your game to run much, much smoother. Put it on minimum. I'm not even going to click on anything. For some reason, my game did a glitch, and I left it like that. So, tough to me. Anyways, this over here is on-demand texture streaming. So what it will do is, if you put it on, is it will download your textures on the fly through your internet if you have a very good internet connection, like a 1 gig line and higher. If you have a slow-ass line, don't even try this. In fact, I have a very good line and I don't need this. I don't even use it. So just leave it off. Low, low, off, off. You do not need any of these inside Warzone. Warzone is not optimized, it's unoptimized. So you want this shit to be low and off, alright? So low, 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 spot cache, high. Do not put this on ultra. I know you saw some TikTok videos saying, ooh, put this on ultra, follow me. You won't get any more stutter. No, the 100 gigs I showed you in the video control panel is what's going to play a role here. So you put it on 100 gigs and click this on high. You won't get any stutters anymore. Your game won't feel like it's lagging anymore. Trust me, put this on high. You do not need this to be on ultra. Don't put it at low. Don't put it at medium. On high. Low, ambient occlusion, always off. Always off on multiplayer fucking games, alright? Off as well, low, off. You do not need this. I mean, you literally don't need to see how the weather looks in the fucking game. That's not what you're concentrating on. You're concentrating on players inside the game that you want to fucking kill, alright? On plus boost, the best that you can go for right now is on plus boost. Depth of field, world motion blur, and weapon motion blur. This is probably going to be the first and last time I'm going to say this. Don't fucking put these on. It's a multiplayer game. Literally, don't put this on. The only reason why you would want this on is if you're playing a single player game. Maybe you bought Modern Warfare 2, right? And you're playing single player. Then go ahead and turn these on while you're playing single player. When you're playing multiplayer games like a Warzone game, like a Battle Royale, turn these off. You don't need it. Film grain all the way to 0.00. The higher you put this, the more it's going to look like you're playing on an olden day TV, and your game's going to look like dog shit, and it's going to look like there's ants on your screen. Don't do that. Put it all the way to 0.00. Once you're done with this, apply these settings. I'm not going to apply it because then I'm going to change my settings completely, but apply these settings that I just showed you now. It will work for you. Trust me, it will work. Once you're done with that and apply these settings, go to view. So I'm just going to discard. Go to view, and this is your own personal preference. I can't tell you what to do here. I honestly can't tell you what to do here. It's your own personal preference on what you're going to do inside the view option inside here. You can copy my settings if you want to. It's your own personal preference. Last thing I want to go over here is this over here in this interface, and go to color customization. Put this on filter 2, both 100%, 100%. Add this on custom and click on enemy. Click here. Put it on pink. Put the saturation all the way up, brightness all the way up, and say apply custom color. Then your enemies are going to stand out a fuck ton, because nothing in the game is pink unless it's a gun skin. But your enemies, if they bright fucking pink, you're gonna see them from a mile away. Trust me, this does work, and it actually makes me see my enemies much, much better. Go ahead and fucking change it to pink. You can change it to any color you want. You can make it lime green or something. Just something that stands out a lot. Pink, there isn't anything in this game that's fucking pink. So, unless it's, like I said, a gun skin. go with pink, you should be good to go. Right, the next step I highly recommend you go ahead and do is, and it's very important you go ahead and do this, you're going to go to Restart Shader Optimization, you're going to click on this and say Restart, and then you're going to close your game, restart your computer, reopen the game, let the shaders install here at the top. Once it's finished, leave a comment down below if this actually fucking worked for you. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're new here. And ladies and gentlemen, become a YouTube member. Become a member, because I'll do more exclusive videos that only my members are going to be seeing. Not you guys that's watching this video right now, but my members only. Because I'm going to do more in-depth videos for people that really needs a fix. For some people out there that can't even fucking run the game. They can't even get into this menu to select their settings because they can't even launch the game through Steam. So if you want some help, I'm here to help you. Join my membership, join level 3 and higher, and I can help you out. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this worked for you, and peace out.